Hi, I'm Garrett Reisman, a NASA astronaut and a graduate of Parsippany High School in Parsippany, New Jersey. I can't tell you that I definitely knew back in high school that I'd be an astronaut someday, but I can tell you that it would not have been possible without solid skills in science, technology, engineering, and math. So if you're a student, take it from me, education is the ticket to an incredible future. What you learn today can help you reach for the stars tomorrow.
Good morning to you today, Garrett.
Thanks, Shannon. Good morning, and good morning also to Simone, who was behind the selection of that tune. Makes us all feel like dancing, and we're feeling like macho men.
And we copy. Thank you.
Good morning from the Johnson Space Center. This is Mission Control Houston, a beautiful view of the International Space Station and Space Shuttle Atlantis flying high above southeastern Russia, just about to make a pass across the Sakhalin Islands before heading out across the Pacific Ocean. Today, the name of the game is robotics. You'll see quite a bit of robotic arm activity today, both with the shuttle robotic arm and the station's arm. The crew, before heading to bed yesterday, grappled the payload of choice today. That is the Russian mini research module Rassvet, the Russian word for dawn, which will be moved from Atlantis' payload bay and handed off to the station's robotic arm. The station's arm was relocated to the power and data grapple fixture on the U.S. laboratory Destiny. It is in a strategic position there to accept its newest payload, the MRM-1, which is destined for a final home on the Zarya control module's nadir docking port. Nadir, the Earth-facing port of the Zarya control module, the station's first element launched into orbit in November of 1998.
Pull over release for 40 seconds. I'll take it off. Ready? Yep. On the 40. This is just releasing the locks to it. I got barber pole over barber pole.
It looks like it released. It actually moved.
And barber pole over release. Taking the switch to off. Demate. That's just this one, and I should get released.
Verify which cable of the
remote. No low hover, so go position on it. Still got no lights.
To plug into Reba, was it 1008 that I'm recharging?
There's the one that's weird.
Is it the same one that I had from previous?
Okay. And
right, Tony, so what did you do this morning?
I got up this morning and got all cleaned up. Good shave. And we pulled MRM-1 out of the payload bay. And you probably can see that better in the monitor. And in the bottom view is our camera looking at our payload bay at MRM-1. And then our top view is the station's big arm end effector. And you can see we lined it up so they can just go in and grapple. And Big G's over in the cupola, flying the big arm. He's going to grapple the module and plug it into the bottom of the space station.
And Big G on the big loop. The SRMS has MRM-1 at the handoff position with the brakes on. We go for grapple. Okay, copy that, Hawk, and we'll get busy on it.
The MRM is now in a position for handoff to the station's robotic arm, the end effector for the SSRMS, or the Canadarm2 off to the left. The location where the shuttle arm is currently grappled, that is a small airlock that will be used later in assembly of the station when the Russian partner delivers a multi-purpose laboratory module, the MLM, which is slated to launch in a couple of years on a Proton rocket. This small airlock will be used for conduct of experiments in the vacuum of space.
For Bueno, term at 48, and you have a go for the bag number 9, the number 9 fill.
And Houston, Atlantis on to first CWC I fill, starting bag 9, 2103.
Copy, Bueno, 2103.
Looks good.
This is a live action shot.
Live action.
You can't see, the angle's not too good, but this is Garrett.
Grappling MRM-1.
Grappling MRM-1. And I'll turn this off quick because it's not too much of an angle. We'll catch their faces from a better angle in just a bit.
Right.
So now we're in the cupola, and this is the view we showed you from the shuttle.
Got it. It says the right
big
label on
arms
it.
end effector.
The station arm now has a firm grasp of the newest module that will be moved from the shuttle's payload bay now over to its permanent home, the attach point on the Earth-facing port of the Zarya control module. The shuttle's arm will be moved to a safe distance, backing away from the MRM-1. Once it reaches that safe distance, the shuttle team will give the station team a go for MRM-1 operations. That would be the go to start maneuvering the module up to its permanent home on the Zarya control module of the International Space Station's Russian segment.
And Big G, this is Atlantis on the big loop. We are at the MRM-1 clearance position with the brakes on. Your go-to maneuver to the MRM-1 pre-dock position. Okay, copy all. We're going to put that in work.
And Houston, ISS Robo, starting the aircast.
Houston copies. We're watching.
And this is roughly a 20-minute maneuver that will reposition the Rassvet module at its pre-install position. The module has a number of components on the outside destined for future use at other locations on the International Space Station, including some debris shielding for the new Russian laboratory module slated for launch in 2012. Other outfitting equipment includes a radiator, the small airlock that you see atop the module. That airlock will be used for external experiments, and the European Space Agency robotic arm elbow joint that will become part of a European robotic arm, the other components of which will be on that Russian laboratory module launched on a Proton rocket from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan in 2012. The new work site for the robotics of the International Space Station inside the cupola, which is a multi-window port on the International Space Station. The robotic workstation now located in that cupola as the MRM-1 continues in its path to its home on the Russian segment of the International Space Station. The MRM-1 has a diameter of just under 8 feet, and it has a length of 20 feet with a pressurized volume of 614 cubic feet and a habitable volume of 207 cubic feet. Once installed on the International Space Station, the overall complex will have a habitable volume of 12,705 cubic feet with a pressurized volume of 29,500 cubic feet. "214 miles above Algeria, headed toward Tunisia and the coastline of the Mediterranean, continuing with the auto sequence robotic arm movement to the pre-install or pre-docking position for Rassvet.
Station Houston, big loop for robotics. Whenever you guys are ready, you have a go. That's go number 3 and 9.2.
That's right. Copy that. We are go for go 3 in work.
Yeah, the crew now is in the process of activating the docking mechanism on the Rassvet module, the extension of the probe, the first contact with the docking mechanism on the station side.
Station Houston for robotics on the big loop. All those TV cameras are configured correctly down here. You have a go for docking of MRM-1.
Wow, Swanee. Okay, we got to go for docking MRM-1. And let you know we have a great view of the docking camera on our RWS monitor.
Wonderful.
And the final procedures for docking of the Rassvet module to its permanent home on the Zarya control module.
Capture.
Copy.
Contact 2.
Copy.
And Houston, ISS Robo. We looked like a pretty good docking. We never got contact 1, straight down the middle, and got capture and contact.
Houston copies. We see you in step 13.
The mini research module Rassvet, the Russian word for dawn, now at its permanent home on the International Space Station.
And Houston Atlantis for OBS on berth. We're in step 2. broadcast to the pre-grapple.
Houston copies.
The station's robotic arm is operated from inside the cupola. The view you see here is of Garrett Reisman and Piers Sellers, as they have been pretty much in charge of the station robotic arm operations throughout the day. The robotic workstation was relocated from the U.S. lab Destiny to the robotic workstation a couple of weeks ago. The cupola always has been what was considered the permanent home of the robotic workstation because of the unique views that it can provide the crew members for situational awareness. The crew members also have several television monitors, computer screens that can also help them with the location of the station's robotic arm in proximity to its various work sites.
All right, Houston, copy. I'll terminate at 15:48, and we'll go ahead and start up bag number 9.
Hey, Bueno, what you doing?
Hey, Tony. I'm filling up some water bags here. We make a lot of water over here on the space shuttle with our fuel cells. And since we're docked up here at the station, we can't dump it like we normally would. And as luck would have it, they need water. Since they have solar arrays, they don't make water like this, so it works out pretty well. So we fill up these water bags and we take them over to the station. It's a pretty important task.
It seems like you're doing a great job at it.
2 for TJ and ABR.
Oh, this is live action. Suichi's working.
In regards to your question,
It's a regular space station morning.
All right. What do you have there?
Something. This is Japanese vegetable rice, egg drop soup.
Egg drop soup. Oh, that sounds good. Thanks, Suichi.
This is my operational editorial comment. Rather than making me go looking up yet another document, it's really cool if we put that kind of information in the stove. So it's we are doing it for digging it up for me.
What you doing, TJ?
Preparing.
And we copy.
Let us copy. You like to do? Preparing.
No problem, TJ. We copy all.
One of the experiments for return, and we have to get it all cleaned up and all saved and all that kind of stuff before we hand it over to you. So Huntsville has got a nice little plant growing facility, and remove the air cartridges, powering down, sucking out the water, and we'll give it over to you a little bit later.
Cool. How are the plants growing?
Well, right now they're completely empty. They have been growing very wonderfully so far. It's been really a pretty cool experiment. I've gone through about 9 or 10 iterations, and I think by about iteration number 7, I got really good at it.
All right.
Planting them, harvesting them, taking pictures, preserving them. It's been good.
And the unberth of the OBSS, or the orbiter boom sensor system, is in work. It will be handed off to the shuttle's robotic arm, and that entire complement will then be maneuvered to a viewing position in preparation for tomorrow's second spacewalk, the primary task of which is to begin the removal and replacement of 6 batteries on the P6 truss element. Those batteries have been serving the space station since they were delivered and activated back in November, December of 2000. The batteries have about a 6-hour projected lifespan. Of course, they've outlived their lifetime on board the station. They're still operating, but a new set of batteries is on its way, with installation scheduled for the second and third spacewalks of the mission. Shuttle pilot Tony Antonelli now under control of the shuttle's robotic arm, beginning the process of moving it in to grapple the orbiter boom sensor system, the grapple fixture on that boom. It'll take it away from the station arm and move to a viewing location in support of tomorrow's spacewalks. High above the Central Pacific, the station's robotic arm now has released a grapple pin at the midpoint of the orbiter boom sensor system. That boom now under electrical power and control of the shuttle's robotic arm. And the station robotic arm now being moved to a safe location away from the orbiter boom sensor system. The shuttle's arm now firmly grasping the OBSS as it will be repositioned a little bit later to support activities ahead of tomorrow.
And thanks, Garrett. That was a great view.
Glad you enjoyed it. And Swanee Pierce said, that's only a great view if you're his mother.
Yeah, no comment on that one. We're going to have a good day, Garrett.
Ken, let me begin with you since you're upside down. This is your first time as commander here, Atlantis' last scheduled flight. How does that leave you feeling, knowing that you're coming back for the last time on Atlantis?
Well, it's a fantastic experience, and as a crew, what we're coining this flight is the last flight of Atlantis, because obviously there is some potential for that great ship to fly again. But she served us very well so far. We're having a ball up here, and we couldn't be happier with her performance. And we'd like to say thanks again to the entire team that put her together, ready to fly again for us.
Tracy, you have been on the International Space Station since March, I understand, and we sometimes report on the problems that you encounter throughout your day. We had a generator go out just this week, but overall, it seems like you guys managed to deal pretty well with whatever challenges come up in front of you. How will that change once the American shuttles are not going back and forth to the International Space Station?
Well, I think NASA and our partners, we rise to the occasion, and whatever challenge comes our way, we've got lots of people, lots of bright people that are committed to making this work, and exactly how depends on the problem. But we still have vehicles coming up and down. It just puts our creative minds to work, exactly how we're going to best utilize those resources.
Well, for instance, the main mission for this Atlantis shuttle was bringing up a very large component for the International Space Station. Do you not foresee any sort of instance where you're going to need a component that's so big that it exceeds what the Russians can bring up?
Well, with the addition of MRM-1, that completes the station assembly as far as the large components go. And so there's nothing planned right now. But there's many spares on board. There's not much large-scale objects that fit in the payload bay that have been scheduled to come up. So I think that right now we're in a safe position.
So let me bring in mission specialist Piers Seller. Piers, I want to ask you, you have a PhD in ecology, and we've been seeing some incredible images from space of that Gulf oil slick. Can you just give me your perspective, having a background in ecology, what it's like for you to see that kind of ecological disaster?
Well, I got to report to my boss that I didn't see the oil slick because I was so busy working. I'm sorry to miss it, but we have seen it, you know, on TV before we came up here. You know, these things aren't good. When you fly around the planet a few times, you get to see the thumbprint of man all over the place. Most of it good, you know, cultivation, cities, most of them clean, and sometimes bad. You know, a lot of biomass burning and pollution. But we're optimistic. I think that people will eventually learn to look after the planet.
And by the way, what is that, Piers, on your leg? Is that a book that you're holding, strapping to your leg?
It's my brain. This is a notebook of everything my instructors tried to teach me before I left, and I couldn't remember it all, so it's all written down there. And some of it I can't read, but it actually gets me through the days. And we all have one. I'm the only one brave enough to wear it.
I'm sure it takes real talent to be able to find what you need in a heartbeat. All right, last question here to Garrett, the spacewalker out there. Have you managed to go out and have a sense of accomplishment? I mean, this is something I'm sure when you have grandchildren and great-grandchildren, this is going to be the story that Grandpa Garrett was out walking in space. It must leave you with such a feeling of accomplishment.
There is really nothing like it, I have to be honest with you. Spacewalking is, in my experience, the most outlandish thing I've ever gotten to do, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Actually, when I first became an astronaut, they looked at how short I am. I'm 5'4", and they when I talked about doing spacewalks, they laughed at me. And here I am today after having gone out there yesterday. And Steve and I really worked hard out there yesterday, especially Steve. He had the lion's share of the burden out there. And we managed to accomplish pretty much everything and then some that we set out to do. And we had some difficult moments. We had a connector that was stubborn. And one of the things I'll always remember is when we finally solved that problem and got that connector hooked up. It was a sense of elation that was difficult to describe, but I was glad to shake Steve's hand up there and share the moment. It was a good feeling.
Ken and Piers, let me start with you. What's it like up there right now?
Wolf, it's absolutely fantastic. The place is much bigger than last time I was here, which was only 2 years ago. I'm not sure why it feels so much bigger. Maybe it's the node and the cupola alone. The cupola is this large glass dome we have that looks down on the Earth. And being inside of there and seeing the entire horizon of the Earth all at once just makes this entire place feel bigger. And it's absolutely fantastic. We're having a ball.
Hey, Wolf, I was here 4 years ago, and this place was about 1/3 the size. And I got to tell you now, you can lose people in this place now. It's really huge. So if you came on up here, people probably wouldn't notice for a week.
Let's talk a little bit about how it feels, and I'll have Tracy weigh in, to be on this last shuttle.
Well, actually, if I came up on a Soyuz, and I've been living on the space station for about 5 weeks before these guys got here. But I can tell you from the perspective of living here and seeing Atlantis and being inside of Atlantis as a station crew member, it's bittersweet, and it's also something that is I never anticipated being able to see each one of the shuttles before their retirement on board my tenure here on the space station.
This is the last Atlantis shuttle mission as we go forward. I also want to bring in Garrett Reisman. You actually do the spacewalks. How scared are you when you get out of that shuttle, out of that space station, and actually go outside?
I'm terrified, Wolf. Actually, the thing is, I'm one of 3 spacewalkers. The other 2 fellows are preparing to go outside tomorrow, so they can't be with us now. But it is something that we train really hard for. And the way I describe it is a strange combination of the familiar and the outlandish. And what I mean by that is we train so much in this big pool in Houston that when we're at our work site and we have our tools and we're looking at the bolts we're supposed to turn, it feels just like being in that pool, and we feel very comfortable, very familiar. But then you look over your shoulder and the whole world is flying by, and you can see the entire east coast of the United States in a single glance. And that is something you can't prepare for in a pool, and that is outlandish, and it is unbelievable.
I want to bring the 2 Russian cosmonauts into this conversation. Oleg, first to you. When you look out Are you able to see this oil spill that's engulfing some of the Gulf of Mexico right now? We spent a lot of time reporting on that. And are you also able to see any of that volcanic ash from the volcano in Iceland that's disrupting air traffic in Europe?
First of all, about the oil, I'm just 30 minutes ago, we passed over the Mexican Gulf and we took a lot of pictures of this oil spot on there, and believe me, it's very scared. That's not good, and that really feel not good about that. And so that's about the ash. Yes, we can see ash about the Europe. It's especially in the evening hours when there's a low angle of sun and we see the atmosphere is not clear as usual in this time of year. So, but we cannot see the volcano itself. But many ecological problems we can observe and monitor from this space station. For example, fires, some flooding, and some poisoning of nature. So it's very useful from this perspective. Thank you.
And Alexander, very quickly, when you see this cooperation with the Americans, you must be pretty pleased by this.
I am glad to work with American cosmonauts and astronauts, and I am glad to work with shuttle's crew. And I know very good Ken Ham, and I am proud to work with him.
What about the rest of it? Here's looking forward into the jam. See Tracy. Sasha back there behind Tracy's here. They're just finishing up a press conference. I think they're discussing their answers. We don't get NASA TV up here, so I didn't hear what their answers. I didn't hear the answers or the questions. All right, I can't believe we haven't put this in Flight Day highlights. This is definitely one of the highlights. This is, of course, the cupola. We are, of course, the camera's going to get overexposed here. Flying over Baja. Let's look back here so I can show you something that you might recognize. Indy back on. And this was where Piers and Garrett were earlier filming, or we tried to film them with MRM-1, but it's hard to get in here with the video camera with them in there flying. But just looking at the horizon. It's mostly overexposed in the camera, but this view is spectacular even if it's not caught on the video camera.